We turn now to a top Democrat on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Maryland's Ben Cardin. Welcome to Face the Nation. The president said that there would be a big price for this chemical attack in Syria, and he called up Vladimir Putin by name for backing the Assad regime. In your view, would a military response be justified?
Margaret, first, it's good to be with you. Clearly, there needs to be a response. There needs to be an international response. This is against international norms. And
a military one?
Well, first and foremost, President Assad needs to be held accountable for his war crimes. Senator Rubio.
He hasn't been in the 7 years of this war.
Well, Senator Rubio and I have introduced legislation that's passed our committee that would hold the evidence accountable. We need to make sure that there is a proceeding started by the international community to hold him responsible. This is not the first use of chemical weapons. Secondly, Congress passed very strong sanctions against both Russia and Iran. The Syrian regime under President Assad cannot exist without Russia's support and the activities of Iran. The United States, the international community, need to take action against Russia and Iran for what they're doing in Syria. So we need to take a pretty strong response for another use of chemical weapons.
Are there any briefings planned with the administration, and do you think a military response is legally justified?
Well, I hope there will be a briefing. Congress returns tomorrow. I hope that we will get a full briefing on the use of these chemical weapons. Unfortunately, there's not a lot known because the Syrian regime has closed the area. So we're not going to have the direct information. So it'll be challenging for us to know. Everything points to that this was controlled by President Assad and again, violation of international norms, and there needs to be an international response.
On Russia, you commended the president for his sanctioning of these Russian oligarchs and other high-ranking officials. These include Putin's own son-in-law and former bodyguard here. But you did criticize the president for not acting faster. What do you think these punitive actions, what's the effect of them?
Well, it's been a long time since the Congress passed the sanction bill against Russia, passed by 99% of the votes in Congress. The president was very slow to act. What I think our main complaint, going against the oligarchs, was very important, a very important sanction. I really applaud the people in the State Department and in Treasury for taking this action. What we didn't hear when these sanctions were imposed was the President of the United States saying this is the policy of our country. I was pleased that his tweet in regards to the Syrian issue, the President mentioned Mr. Putin. But
by name.
By name. That was a significant change. But he has not done that in regards to the sanctions imposed against the oligarchs, and he certainly has not done that in regards to Mr. Putin's interference in our own country.
You helped author a law that provides oversight for the nuclear deal with Iran, along with your colleague, Senator Corker, who has said on this program he expects the president to withdraw next month from that international agreement. Do you agree with Senator Corker?
Well, I think both Senator Corker and I agree it'd be a mistake for the president to withdraw from the Iran agreement. If the United States violates the agreement, we are isolating America, not Iran, from the international community. By all indication, Iran has not violated the agreement. Yes, I disagreed with the agreement from its beginning, but this is an agreement. Iran's complying with it, and the United States would be marginalized by withdrawing from the agreement. So I hope that the president will recognize that we need to work with our European allies to make sure we're in lockstep against Iran.
Mike Pompeo, his confirmation hearings will be this week as he goes up for this job of being Secretary of State. You voted against him when he stood up for the CIA director position. Are you going to support him this time?
Well, I've had a chance to talk to him briefly by phone. We'll have a meeting on Tuesday. And then, as you know, the committee is holding its confirmation hearings this Thursday. So this is going to be a very busy week for Mr. Pompeo. I'm looking forward to asking him a lot of questions. I want to make sure that he will stand for the values of America, good governance, democracy, anti-corruption, and use diplomacy as the head diplomat if confirmed. And I want to make sure he'll be an independent voice in the Oval Office with the president.
So you're open to voting yes this time?
We're going to wait to see how this week goes. Obviously, I have many questions.
I also want to ask you about another committee you're on as it relates to the environment. A lot of questions about Scott Pruitt, the EPA administrator. There's some speculation that the president, even if he wanted to get rid of him, which he's made clear he doesn't at this point, that he'd have a really hard time finding someone and getting him confirmed for that role. Do you agree?
I think it would be challenged. There's so many positions open right now in the administration, and there's so many weeks left before we get to the midterm elections. I think it's going to be a challenge for us to get cabinet level positions confirmed, particularly one at EPA. My main complaint against Mr. Pruitt was his policies, his environmental policies. These ethic issues need to be resolved. They need to be resolved in an open manner, and Congress has a role of oversight.
So you don't think he should be fired over these ethics?
No, I didn't say that's a decision that the president's going to have to make. This is a cabinet level position. It's up to the president of the United States. I think what Congress's appropriate roles, of course, during confirmation, and we don't have a confirmation process on this, but the oversight of his ethics issues are certainly within the realm of Congress.
All right. Senator Cardin, thank you very much for all of your insights, and we'll be back on Face the Nation in 1 minute.